Evgeny Akharamurza joins me now. Evgeny, how are you doing? I'm having a rough time with this. How are you doing?
Hello, Ali. Believe me, it feels like it's surreal. Interview with you for his arrest. I'm doing as well as I can. I know that this is someone I'm infinitely proud of, and I admire my husband, and he is also the father of our 3 children. So the idea was to raise these kids together, and I'm going to continue fighting for him for as long as it takes me to bring him back home.
This was, I don't want to say inevitable, because we never want to think anything is inevitable, but when he and I talked in April, and prior to that, you guys had made the decision that he was going to go back. You knew, I mean, it was very fast how it happened, but take me through those days, the decision to go back, the inevitable likely arrest, and how that all went down.
This was really not the decision to go back. It was the decision not to leave his country behind. He used to spend over these, many years, he used to spend at least 50% of his time in Russia, where he traveled across the country, where he went to many regions, met different people. He was always excited about meeting these people all across the country, because he said that there are so many Russian citizens all across the country who are very enthusiastic, who refuse to give up the fight, who want to see Russia a different country. So he knows for sure that these people are there, and he believed it was always his duty to stand by them, to stand by their side and fight with them together. So this was not the decision to go back, it was the decision not to ever make the decision to leave and stay away from Russia and try to work from outside, I guess.
He said to me many years ago in a conversation that we were having, when I said something about the Russians, he said, don't call them Russians. He said, the Russian people are not the people you're talking about. He said, the government of Vladimir Putin is not the Russians. And he said, make that distinction for your viewers, that when you watch this evil, and this was many years before Ukraine, when you watch this evil, let's point to who's actually doing it. There are Russian people who crave freedom. There are Russian people who crave justice and fairness and liberty, and that's who I represent.
And I believe that he's absolutely right in saying this, because, he was given 25 years of strict regime exactly for that, for standing up to the regime of kleptocrats and the regime of murderers. These people have been truly affected by his long-time work of calling for sanctions against those human rights violators in the current Russian government. And the current Russian government depends a lot on this warped image of reality that it tries to create for the world and for, both for domestic purposes and for the international stage. That warped image of reality in which the entire Russian population stands behind the war and stands behind Vladimir Putin's policies. But the reality is different, because if there were no opposition in the country, who would the regime be using this mass repression against? Who would they be using these Soviet repressive techniques that include punitive psychiatry, sexual violence, prison terms going up to 15 years for just standing up in the street with a slogan that says no war? Who would they be using it against, all of that against, if there were no opposition in the country? Why would they be introducing a life sentence for high treason? And high treason today is any narrative that opposes, that contradicts the official narrative.
Right.
So anyone who stands against what Vladimir Putin and his government represent, anyone who stands against that future that Vladimir Putin has chosen for our country, is seen and is portrayed by the government, by the Russian authorities, as either a criminal, a traitor, or a spy.
Evgeny, how is Vladimir doing, as far as you know?
Well, you know him well. You've known him for many years, so I think that you would believe if I told you that his spirit remains strong. And this is absolutely, I can hear his voice every time I read one of his articles, or when I wrote that, when I read that last word that he made in court after the verdict. I was amazed. I could hear his voice, and that was so heartwarming for me because I haven't seen or heard him for over a year, and nor have our kids. Vladimir has been denied the right to even have phone conversations with his kids for over a year. But you know, despite it all, his spirit remains very strong. He's a fighter, and I have to be a fighter for him as well. But unfortunately, his health is deteriorating, as could have been expected, because he survived 2 poisoning attacks in the past. And those attacks led to the development of polyneuropathy, which means that he's basically losing a sensation, losing feeling in his extremities. Now, after a year of pretrial detention and some time that he spent in solitary confinement, these symptoms that he had been able to keep under control through regular physical exercise and by leading a very active lifestyle have not only come back, but seem to be spreading. So now he's losing feeling in both his legs, and he's lost around 50 pounds. Never complains, though, and that is also Vladimir.
When he got arrested, I remember thinking this is Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King and Gandhi all rolled into one. He knew what he was doing, and he will prevail because that is his strength and the strength of many other people. Evgenia, yours mostly, actually. Thank you for being with us today. Evgenia Kara-Murza is the wife of the imprisoned Russian opposition politician, Vladimir Kara-Murza.